All things metal. I'm Matt. I'm Jeff.
Welcome back to the Bleghcast, the ones and zeros of all things metal. I'm Matt.
I'm Jeff.
And today we have an exciting episode. Today we're going to be doing Lorna Shore and We Came as Romans.
Lorna Shore is Pain Remains, and We Came as Romans is Grave Bloom. And we are going to be starting off with Lorna Shore. First new album with Will Ramos as the new vocalist. They had a three-track EP that came out. It was either 2020 or 2021.
2021.
Okay, which was pretty good. We did that.
Yeah.
We did an episode on that. I think Lorna Shore's found their best vocalist so far, in my opinion. I don't know about this album.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. I read this online comment someone made. It was like chug, breakdown, orchestra, repeat. And I think that kind of sums up the entire album. Like they do it well, and they're very, talented, skilled, but I think we were talking about Darko last week having a formula that they stick with, and I'm pretty sure that Lorna Shore likes, at least nowadays with this sound, seem to like to stay in their formula and are comfortable sitting there. Would you say so, or what do you think?
See, I would argue the first half of the album is like that. The second half, I would say, it felt for me distinctly different because, for example, they had all the singles that they released prior was Into the Earth, Sun Eater, Cursed to Die, and I think they released Pains Remain just recently as a single.
Yeah, first one.
Yeah. So the first three singles they released were off the first half of the album.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, I liked those singles. I felt they were pretty good. But out of the four songs that I liked, as in like my favorites, those were all on the last half of the album.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Soulless Existent is almost reminded me, I think it was for some reason, Whitechapel came to mind. It sounded very like old school, like death metal to me. It sounded like he had like either Will like double tracked his voice, or they had a guest singer that's not on there, because it was a whole different type of scream on Soulless Existence. So I don't know. I would say, yeah, with the first half, it was very kind of the same. And I could get where you get a little bit bored with kind of getting that same sound. But for me, personally, like the last half of the album is gold. And then Welcome Back, O Sleeper was another one of my favorites, the first track. And that one it's got some brutal bits.
Yeah, I think yeah, like Welcome Back, Oh Sleeping Dreamer. Those sudden like break, like beat down moments. I think that is the type of thing that like kind of got a little bit repetitive to me, because whenever they did do a breakdown like that, it was that style where it just, the whole song just cut out and they're just like punching you into the ground,
Yeah.
It didn't feel different enough every time that happened.
Gotcha.
And I can't really think of a moment where it was just like it was different enough compared to like older Lorna Shore. Like Psalms is my favorite album by them back from 2015.
Yeah.
And that had a lot of diversity to it. Whereas this one, the types of moments that you hear are kind of the same sprinkled throughout. Like, like you said, Sun Eater, like, so for example, Sun Eater and Cursed to Die, they do that like melodic thing with the orchestra
Yeah.
pad, which I don't know how recently they came into that. Like because like pretty much between Psalms and the 3-track EP, Return to Nothingness, like I kind of skipped all that Lorna Shore in the middle there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how regular that type of melodic thing that they do is prevalent with them, but like it just kind of, to me, it just felt like, you know, when you're a new band and you're writing something melodic, you're like, oh, we gotta do it for every song now. And so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. That's just my 2 cents, but
That's true.
you know, it sounds cool, but I'm like, oh, they're trying to do another catchy thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, in somewhere in my notes, I put, you're talking about like that orchestral bit that they like to put in the beginning of songs and stuff like that, right?
Well, like think of like the chorus.
Oh, okay.
Like for example, Sun Eater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go to like 150 on Sun Eater. Like you can tell that type of orchestral sound is meant to be like the hook of the song, whereas the only favorite I had was Wrath.
Okay.
Like at 254 in Wrath, I like when they do that type of orchestral sound where it's just enhancing a section of a song rather than trying to be the catchy part of the song.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it adds a little bit more of a depth to that guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say, remember, I think if you remember back when we did the 3-track EP,
mm-hmm.
that we were talking about that these types of songs like needed guitar solos and they were all 6 minutes and without them it would be like boring. I didn't find myself being like weighed down or bogged down by like endless guitar solos and crazy things. I think, you know, so I think that's another positive is that typically this type of music does have, you know, guitar solos a lot, but you know, it didn't feel like they put it in there just for the sake of shredding and putting it in there. Like
mm-hmm.
it was tastefully done. So I did appreciate that.
And they had quite a few like 4-minute songs. Well, almost 5 minutes, but
on the longer side of short songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 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 Another thing just about in general, as I feel Lorna Shore should team up with FromSoft, and they should write all the music for the boss battles in Dark Souls or Elden Ring or like any like Souls game or Soul style game. Because like there's that whole joke like you beat the boss but then you start hearing Latin music. And it's, you know, it's the second stage of the boss.
Oh, the second stage. Okay.
Yeah, so I always like with them they like to, or with Lorna Shore they like to do these long like 1.5 minute intros.
Mm-hmm.
And it always reminds me of like walking into a Souls boss fight, like second stage boss fight.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I would agree there. I would even say something like that, or like if there was I don't know how you do this, but if there was like a mixture between like Doom and Elden Ring. Like Doom has that like metal soundtrack.
Yeah.
And Elden Ring has that very orchestral, old-timey, you know, sound to it.
Yeah. Elden Doom.
Yeah. Elden Doom, yeah. Eternal Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's, yeah. So, You said you had 4 favorites?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if you mentioned any of them yet.
So the first being Welcome. We'll just start at the top. Welcome Back with Sleeper.
Okay.
That's okay. So this was the one I said, Perfect Souls Boss song.
Okay.
I think that was primarily just based off the intro. Super quiet, and then orchestral with like the piano, and they got that like choir singing. And then at 158, I really enjoy that blah that he does. The blah.
158?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, just before the chug.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, the blah into that chug was just like beautiful. At 340, something about the lyrics. Let me switch over to my page that I was holding up. The future belongs.
I would have liked to hear, so like, since we're kind of at that part, like right after that blech at 158, that chuggy thing that they do right after that, I wanted to hear more moments like that. But like for them, it wasn't necessarily a breakdown. It was just like a transition into the next part of the song.
Yeah.
But I would have liked that. That's the type of breakdown stuff that I wish could have been at least prevalent a little bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking for those lyrics real quick. I wrote down like the intro because it was too long that I didn't want to write down. Oh, okay. So at 340, he says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of all their nightmares." I thought that was like beautiful and thought. Oh, another thing is, so the lyrical website that I like looked at, I was like just kind of reading through while I was listening to, just to make sure I wasn't missing anything and stuff like that, just because a lot of the times his voice can get real distorted and gnarly. So I like to
very tight throat.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that I'm like hearing things right. So I look at the lyrics just because I want to know what he's saying. And this is like a conceptual album, so it's supposed to tell a story. And so this song, Will says that it's the narrator explaining the potential of dreams and lucidity, the opportunity for exploration of the infinite and the deeper dive into the human psyche. The whole song is about falling into this place that feels familiar but is somehow not familiar at the same time. It's a concept album, so it's the first chapter. And so I read that and then, go back up to "The future belongs to all those who believe in the beauty and other nightmares." And I just, so I was like, oh, it's conceptual. So he's telling a story, but I was like trying to like figure out what the story was and like listen to it a little bit more. So like the whole just concept of this guy kind of waking up in this like dream world and him being the god of it, or like building and, creating, was really cool. Just, I guess
that sounds like a video game.
Yeah.
But it could be one.
So that was at 340, and then at 350 it goes into this brutal, I felt like it was a pretty brutal breakdown. I think it's actually at like 345. Oh, 350, sorry. Like
that beat down.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like that. That might be the thing that you got a little sick of, or
well, I do. I
felt like got like old.
Yeah, I think it got a little old. Like I genuinely like that. But like listening to a whole album where it happens often. Kind of, it got a little old. So, in small amounts, like small amounts. I like it.
I just
If I'm
remember being in
listening
the
to
car and having like this. I didn't have it like up a whole lot. I was just kind of driving around and whatnot, and that part came on. And I remember like my lip curling up, going ooh, and like my hand reaching over and like turning the knob up, and just like my head like kind of like cringing a little bit. It was just gross.
it.
So good. But yeah, and then at 5:30 he says hold up. Embrace new reality. Okay, so he says embrace your new reality and feel the world slow down. And at that point, the whole song just kind of like it just like slows down. Especially this is like just after like a fast solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very good. They're very good at like doing the I learned about it. I learned about it in school.
Yeah.
I forget the exact term, but it's like jarring. You're not transitioning into like if there's different. Oh my God. So they're good at having one section and then just boom, you're into the next section where other like there's like two options. That's one option. Then the other option is to kind of like lead the listener and prepare them for it.
Like with a bridge or some sort of
Yeah. I think the word prepare was in there when I learned about it however many years ago. But but yeah. They do that really well.
Yeah.
And generally I do really enjoy that type of thing where all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I liked. Well, that's pretty much a lot of the stuff that I liked about that one song in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one was Apotheosis, I believe.
Yeah, I had trouble pronouncing that one too.
I had to sit there and look at it for a second. Yeah. So then after like I found out that this was a concept album, I started looking at what Will had to say about it. So this song, what Will had to say was the character starts to see something in the distant that gives him a glimpse of hope. It may be a person or a thing, but he sees a light at the end of the tunnel. He's like, this is going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. So then at 2-ish minutes, I think, because I was just like writing notes. I actually did this a little bit differently where I took notes as I was listening compared to like stopping and rewinding. And so I didn't like keep the best track of numbers. But at 2-ish minutes, okay, it says like 2:04. I said, classic Will, fucking brutal. It's like,
yep.
Yep. Brutal sounding vocals. It's so
22
gnarly.
and 222. There's that breakdown type of chugging with the choir on top of it, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's sexy. And then at 3:48, there is. I think it happens a couple times throughout the song, but this is like where I really noticed it, so that's kind of where I took note. It's like a higher pitch guitar that's going along with that orchestra. Very briefly, and then that goes into 3:58. The vocals with like that beat blast. Like you said, I guess you're at this point you might be sick of it when you listen to the album, but I liked it. And then at 4:16, it sounds like he's getting smothered with a wet pillow.
Oh, wet pillow. All right. Yeah, I'm almost a couple more seconds. I'm there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
it's just real very muffled nasally. And yeah. Just wet.
Yeah, I think he's trying to push the limits and boundaries of what he's capable of doing too.
Yeah.
What other weird? It's almost like you could feel it in your eyeballs, like that nasal cavity back there.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much all the notes I had on that one. And then the next one was Wrath, which I know you said you liked. And so this was...
Yeah, that was my only one.
Yeah, this one was interesting because Will said when they were putting the album together, Wrath was supposed to be... They like moved it around a lot, and it was technically supposed to be before Apotheosis in the story, but sonically, it sounded better coming after it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they put it. So he's like, the story gets a little like jumbled up, but for listening pleasure, we
see. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
because I know in past episodes I've been like, you know what, this song would have sounded better here and there, and so they it's nice to hear that they're putting care into the flow of an album, which is
it's
kind of
not
the point
it's
of an
not
album,
just
you know?
it's not just the story. Because I get with like a concept, you're supposed to be telling, like the concept album, you're supposed to be telling a story from the first song to the last. But at the same time, you want it all to mesh properly. Yeah. Just because like this is the reason I said like this is the song about being pissed and wanting to destroy everything. Well, that doesn't really work if you just saw the light at the end of the tunnel, is what he was saying there. So yeah, so it's just kind of
maybe it's old memories coming back to haunt him or
there
something.
you go. That's how you explain it. But for me, at least at 2 minutes, I said that poor drummer. There's like the double bass drum at that particular part is just so. It's just so fast.
Without reloading too. It's just machine gun. Just constant.
Just
my hands. Ah.
I was telling my girlfriend that it sounded like an A10 Warthog minigun. Have you heard those?
I don't think so. Probably, maybe, but
it's like the one plane that has this like 30 millimeter like cannon on the bottom of it, and just sounds like, and that's just like that was like the picture in my head that I thought of when I was listening to it. It was like that poor drummer is just like mowing it down.
How do you move your feet that fast?
Yeah, you know what he does? He has a pedal for each toe, so he's literally just like rolling his toes.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I tried doing that right as you said that. Does it work? My toes don't work like that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's toes could really. That'd be creepy. And then at 3:50, I love the lyrics, but I don't know. I didn't write down like what he says, so I have to listen to it real quick. Oh, okay. So that's the refrain. And yeah, so he says, behold displacement, cremation, rising from devastation, from embers of creation unto death. I like the delivery, I think more or less of, like, I like the lyrics, but then also like the delivery of it was beautiful. And then at 4:05, just brutal. Oh, I said the whole end of the album just like makes me just want to like curl up. Like the whole, like I just like my muscles just tense and like everything's just like so brutal.
Yeah, it's almost like, when is the next note going to come?
Yeah.
You can't like quite predict.
Uh-huh. It's like almost doom metal, but not quite.
Yeah. Just play the next note already.
Yeah. I think that's all the notes I pretty much had for Wrath. But What did you like? Did you say everything that you liked about it? Because I know you said it was like one of your favorites, or your only favorite.
I think the main note was that at 2:54, like I said earlier, when the orchestra sound is added to the song to like enhance that section rather than trying to be melodic. But I'd have to agree with everything that you liked about it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the last song that I liked was Pain Remains 1, Dancing Like a Flame, I believe. Dancing Like Flames.
Yeah.
Made a note to read the quote, so I'll do that real quick. So Will said that I used to have dream. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so he says, I used to have dreams where I would have this fantastic relationship with somebody, and then I can't even tell who this person is because that's how dreams are. Unfortunately, you can't make out a lot of things. Dreams are so vague, but in your mind, it makes sense. You're falling in love, and then you'll wake up from the dream and be like, shit, that never really happened. This sucks. In the story,
that's happened to me.
Right? So
that's happened. Holy shit.
So in the story, the character has a moment like this where he begins to love in their dreams, which returns meaning to the dream world, but they can't quite find solace. So then I had that whole, I was thinking about that while I was listening to it. And then it made sense because like the intro is just, to me, was really dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
And like almost just like beautiful. You forget that you're listening to death metal for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy that he put that into words, because I know for a fact that I've experienced that before, where you wake up sad and you're like, whoa, like weird how stuff can stick with you like that.
Yeah. So then the chorus, I don't have a timestamp of when it comes in, but he says
226?
Huh?
226 maybe?
226? We'll go with that.
It's more of that melodic orchestra stuff.
Yeah, so I think it's just before. Yeah, so at like 2:17 is when the chorus comes in. It's strange to like say, because usually when we like describe metal songs, you know, we'll use like these real disgusting terms like falling off your bike and having picking gravel out of your knees and just like things like that to describe on how something is. But this is, in my opinion, even though it's like heavy, it's beautiful. It like just for me at least, in every way, this chorus I fell in love with pretty much instantly. And the lyrics, he says, "We're dancing like flames flickering in the night. We sway in time with the wind before melting away. You're far from me, my reach, but not far out of sight. You know the way to my heart, but you just play the strings again." And so it's beautiful and sad and just kind of things that it just like completely shifts like the feeling of the song, I guess, the sound of it in my, like, just for me at least. And then at 4:50.
Yeah, I like when you look these things up, because it makes me think of the songs differently.
Yeah. Oh, and so then like the bridge, he just kind of like, he's whispering a little bit, but
yeah, more of that.
It's just like the desperation, like in that whisper, you can hear almost like a quiver in like he's like holding back tears almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there's like the desperation when he so like he says like a wrinkle in time, take what's left of my life before you go, show me what it's finally to know. And then like he's just like slowly building up this like deep, and you just know he's gonna like let it all out. Yeah, so like the last line is when he like goes like full scream and he says like a world without you isn't meant for me. Like it's just like a sad love song.
Yeah, and then that transitions beautifully into the second one.
Oh,
like instantly.
So yeah, Pains 1, 2, and 3 all blend together. Like listening to Pain Remains 2, because when I was just like writing notes down, I was like, okay, I need to pause this before the next song comes up so I can like finish my notes. And then before I know it, I'm already a minute into the next song. When did this happen? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like Pain Remains 1, 2, and 3 is one song and then they just broke it up because having a 20-minute long song at the end of the album.
Yeah, I was going to say it approaches 20 minutes pretty much total because number 3 is 9 minutes long.
Yeah, only Lorna Shore.
Only, yeah, only. Well, did you see that Taylor Swift's new album came out? It made me think of that.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
no, I didn't. Just you have a 10-minute long song on it because.
No, but I sent you a thing yesterday. It was like, can't explain it, but this just feels right. On State of the Scene podcast, put like a Deftones logo on her picture, and it made it look like a Deftones album. But anyway,
gotcha.
Yeah, if nobody knows what we're talking about, Taylor Swift came out with this like 10-minute song, I think like last year or something like that.
There was a comment that said only Taylor could write a 10-minute long song.
Yeah, and we're like looking at each other like, oh, child.
And then here Lorna Shore goes, and then I would honestly say the last 3 songs are one song because it blends in. The last note or the last like line or whatever blends in perfectly with the first line of the next song. So
yeah,
they're the same song.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's a 20-minute long song. Only Lorna Shore.
Only Lorna Shore could do that.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much all I had to say about this album.
Yeah. I would say overall. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say like overall, I'd say I enjoyed it, but picking individual songs was kind of tough for me.
Yeah,
I like the sound overall, and I like the direction that they're in. So
yeah, to be honest, I didn't even listen to Into the Earth, Sun Eater, Cursed to Die when I was listening through this because I was like I've heard these songs like 10, 20, 30 times already. So I kind of burned myself out on them.
Yeah, I kind of skipped him a bit. I didn't feel guilty about skipping those because I was already aware of them a lot. So.
Yeah. So what do you think of this album in numerical value?
Well, I want to add one more thing before I do that. I don't like the album artwork. I mean, I remember texting you that yesterday or the day before. Doesn't it look like it was made in PowerPoint? It was like they took a stock photo and they put some word art over it.
It's very minimalistic, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It bugged me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So it looks like something I would do, and I suck at it. It's like a YouTube thumbnail or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Expected more. But anyway, numerically, I'm gonna have to go with a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Anything higher than that, I don't know. Anything higher than that, would be dishonest, I think. Not a bad album overall. Had some good moments, but I'm gonna take a break from this one for a minute.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
For me, I'm thinking like a solid 8. Just because one, I had 4 songs. That's almost half the album. And I like,
Technically, it is if you consider 8, 9, 10
True.
one song.
True. And then I like Into Earth, Sun Eater, and Cursed to Die. They're not my favorite, but so I think overall I enjoyed them all. Soulless Existence, I think, was like the only song I just couldn't really get into all that much. But
so was the Whitechapel comment not a good thing, or was it a good thing?
No, it just was an indifferent thing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't even know why it like reminded me of. I don't know. It just, there was something about it that like, I was like, Whitechapel, and I don't even listen to Whitechapel all that much, but for whatever that was, and I might be completely wrong, but that was like in my head was like the sound that came through for me. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd say a solid 8.
Gotcha.
I enjoyed the chugs. I felt like it had a really good story. Especially after like looking it up. Kind of.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise when you were going through that, because that's pretty relatable. Some of those things that you were saying.
Yeah.
So.
But
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so 8 from Matt, 7 from Jeff, and now we're gonna move on to We Came as Romans, their new CD,
or We Car for short.
We Car, yep. Grave Bloom, which is their first album since their lead singer Kyle
Dark Bloom
passed away many years ago. Like 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah, 2018, I think.
So,
and you meant this Dark Bloom, right?
What did I say?
Grave Bloom.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I hate when people do that, and I just fell victim to it. Getting the album wrong. I'm so sorry, guys. Dark Bloom. That's right.
You know what I was thinking earlier.
Yeah, you know what it was is the Acacia Strain has an album called Grave Bloom.
Oh,
and I searched and Grave Bloom came up on my
on
my like recent searches or something like that. So it just got all goofed up in there.
Yeah.
So sorry. Yeah, it's Dark Bloom.
2018 was Kyle.
Yeah. So different. Clearly a different sound this time around. I would say like their first 2 albums had like similar sound, but then after that, it was, evolving one way or another, kind of changing their sound. So I was curious about you, Matt, if do you still think of We Came as Romans as like those first 2 albums, that type of sound, or have you listened to them at all in between there? Because sometimes they can take on like more of like a poppier sound. You know what I mean?
I
know they did get a little bit of radio play too.
Yeah, I haven't listened to them since To Plant a Seed. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple songs off of the Understanding What We've Grown to Be. But I just remember listening to that and being like, And I kind of like fell off the train because I was all about them. I remember because I used to work at Bill Fox Chevrolet, and David Sharpton, I believe is his name.
It's definitely Dave.
Yeah. His dad was the used car salesman there, and I actually bought a car off of his dad. And then I remember I used to be a porter, so I would just drive cars around and take them back and whatnot. So when they released their first single, they went on an album, or they went on a Dave Stevens.
Yeah.
And they brought their van in to be serviced before they started driving out because you don't want your van to break down on the road. So I got to drive the tour van into the back and get an oil change for them and all that shit. And they came back out and they had CDs for us all. So I got like a free to plant a seed CD. And I don't think I really met any of them, but yeah. So I've driven their tour van and got a free CD from them. So that was kind of cool.
You got 2 free CDs.
Oh yeah, because I gave you one
to me.
Yeah.
Back when we first met, this was like the first semester of Oakland University when we went to school. And you're like, hey, you want this CD? Whole story that you just told.
Yeah.
And I remember you popped it into, like, either I had a CD player or you had a CD player with you, and we popped it in and we like listened to the whole thing before we went to our next class that was together. I was like, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then they were going on tour. So I think the next time they were at Pontiac, the Crowfoot, we went and saw them with Miss May I, and
I remember exactly who was there. It was The Word Alive.
Okay, yep.
It was Of Mice and Men.
Yep.
Before, well, I think so Austin Carlisle, he's had health problems. So it was actually Jerry Roosh from Glass Cloud and Sky Eats Airplane who was doing the screen vocals.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize until later on. And then We Came as Romans. And was it Miss May I? Those are the only 3 I remember. Word Alive, Of Mice and Men, and We Came as Romans. All
Skylight Drive.
What was it? Okay.
Yeah. They were the Skylight Drive was the headliner.
Okay. Did we stay for them?
We stayed for like half of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back when Word Alive, Of Mice and Men, We Came as Romans, like their first albums were coming out. So like right at the beginning, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like
Dave
09.
walked out on everyone's hands. That was kind of cool. Like he was standing up, and it was so fucking packed. I remember like just having our hands up in the air, and he's not even like laying down or sitting. He's literally just walking on the crowd, like walking on water. Like that's how packed it was.
Yeah. And just another side note, that FYE, by Lakeside Mall, inside Lakeside Mall. I think I was standing behind Dave in line one time. I didn't go up to him, but I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure that was him buying CDs. And I was like, nah, I don't want to bug him.
Yeah.
But, so Dark Bloom is clearly a different, We Came as Romans back from that era.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I'm curious to hear your thoughts first on this one.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't not like it. I think for me, it almost kind of like how you felt with like the Lorna Shore album, where it was good, but for me, there wasn't anything like, I liked 3 songs, but it's one of those where I can't even almost tell you why I liked them.
They were just the best.
They were just like the best, most audibly like sound, like my favorite, like the ones that sounded the best to me. It was an easy listen, and it wasn't bad. It just, I think I've said this before. I think I'm getting away of that, like, what they're considered,
that
like
style,
that post-hardcore, or that like punk rock hardcore. Yeah. I think I'm just like, I've dipped my feet into like the death metal too much, and now that's like all I want to swim in, Yeah.
Yeah. I think this, like you said, that post-hardcore sound, I think it, is not just for We Came as Romans, but just in general. I think the genre might just kind of be past its prime. Like I remember when it exploded back when we were, 09,
18,
like
19, yeah.
Yeah, like 08 to like 012 maybe. That was like the golden years of that. Did I say 012?
You did. I mean, you're technically not wrong.
Right. Yeah. 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Like it's pretty rare nowadays that I specifically look for something like that, and if I am looking for it, that's something that really kind of really grabs me.
Yeah.
Because I think both of our tastes have changed
So
over the years.
yeah. So question, speaking of like death metal and post-hardcore, did you listen to the Dark Bloom single with Brand of Sacrifice?
Yeah, I did, and I forgot about that until just now.
It
was awesome.
is the tits.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So if there was more of that in there, oh man, we'd be singing a whole different story right now.
Man, collaboration album where they just all work together to brutalize everything.
That would be sick.
That would be awesome.
I would love that. Yes. They're going. So what I'm excited for is in February, We Came as Romans is going to be on tour in Pontiac with Brand of Sacrifice.
Woo! You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I've been to a concert with
better happen.
I want to say it was Betraying the Martyrs. There was a song of Betraying the Martyrs that had Chris Motionless in it. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like Chris Motionless is going to come out and sing this song with them. Why wouldn't he? He's on tour with them. It would be perfect. It would be awesome. It would be amazing. And then they played that song, but Chris didn't come out. And I was like,
what a goofball.
What the fuck? Like, why are you doing this to us? Like, you want like a good show. People are going to lose their goddamn minds if you play like the good version.
The good version.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I like Dark Bloom, but like, man, when you listen to the brand of, like the We Car brand of the We brand, Dark Bloom, that's where it's really at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that because I completely forgot about that one. Yeah, I would agree with you. This one, it was okay. I had two favorites, but there wasn't a lot to like pick apart. Very
just straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward, kind of surface level ish. I kind of had the same mindset as you did with like Lorna Shore, where most of your favorites were kind of like later on in the album.
Yeah,
like the ending of the album I think was better than the beginning. Like Black Hole's their most popular one, and I don't know. I can't get into that one.
It was good the first time I listened to it, and then I listened to it a couple more times. Like I'm talking when it first came out, and then Spotify just kept playing it, and I think Spotify did the whole like radio ruin the song for me.
Yeah, I don't know. That song it just sounds like they tried too hard on that one or something. I don't know. It didn't come naturally.
Shortest.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, fuck this song too.
And then everybody loves it.
Yeah. They're like, God damn it.
It's like a reverse Werewolf on Motionless's album, where I was like, this has to be like the worst song. And like, they probably like the studio probably told them that they had to put this in there. And then,
this is going to be our biggest hit.
Yeah. And then everybody loved it. And then they were just like, yeah, this is our favorite song off the album. And why? So this is like this is the reverse. So like studio's like, you have to put that one in there. People are going to love it. And they're like, but why?
Dad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that one. But what other notes do I have overall? The only other note that I put about like the album as a whole, it was like about time this thing came out, because it felt like I was hearing about it for like 2 years before it was finally released.
Well, Dark Bloom was released in 2021, the single.
Okay.
And I think
it felt like 2 years. It wasn't. I don't think it was, but
no.
So like it was like half the album.
Oh man, when did it come? When did that single come out? Because it honestly, I know what you're saying is that Dark Bloom, just the single, it felt like it came out.
So it was July.
Okay, I was going to say the middle of last year. So yeah,
almost a year and a half.
Yeah, so you're not too far off.
Year and 3 months, yeah.
Okay.
Felt like it existed forever.
Yeah.
Before the album came out. I was like, about time. Because they didn't even have a release date. Every time, I would, We Came as Romans. Let me see if that album came out yet. Nope. And I would look up on their website, and it just wouldn't have a release date yet. So
yeah. Yep.
So you had 3 favorites or 3 kind of favorites, maybe.
Yeah. My first one was Plagued. I liked the heavy intro. It's kind of industrial, which I've been like tampering with, like that industrial metal sound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. So I've looked at the Wikipedia of who's done what in the band, and congrats to them for being a fairly stable band where a lot of the members have been the same. I think the only member that they really changed out since their first studio,
mm-hmm.
would be the drummer. And then obviously Kyle's no longer here, but the only member that has changed has been the drummer.
Gotcha.
But I don't, and it says that Dave has done clean vocals essentially from the beginning. And I don't know if I'm a fan of it. And it's not bad. It's just I don't like the sound.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he did background stuff early on.
I think that's what it was.
Because I cannot think of a time other than this album where I've heard him sing where it's been prevalent.
Yeah, I think he did more background clean vocals.
Yeah, it has to have been. Does it say clean vocals? Because he's okay. Yeah, because he's been the screamer the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Plagued has that screamy sing that I just shy away from.
Yeah. I think I primarily like it just for the intro because at 2:25 there's an interesting little breakdown. I like what the keyboards are doing in the background. It's off-putting from the rhythm of the guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's pretty much it for Play. Like I said, I don't really have too many notes on why I think these were just the ones I thought were the best off the album,
mm-hmm.
or else I wouldn't really have anything to talk about. to be completely honest, it was just a fairly just straightforward listening album, and it was over before you really knew, especially coming from Lorna Shore to this, it was over before you knew it. I think the whole album's only a half hour long or something like that, just over a half hour.
Same amount of songs, but half the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think their longest song is shorter than the shortest song.
Yeah, longest was One More Day, 4:28, and then Lorna Shore's shortest was 4:54 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So the next one was Daggers.
Yeah, Daggers was one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
Do you like the rap part?
it's not bad. I would say it's not the best of what we've listened to in the past. But this also has that like industrial style like sound in the beginning with the
Yeah, I just Googled industrial metal bands to look up later because
yeah.
like every time I hear stuff, I'm like, yeah, I like that, but I don't know what that is. So
Yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the heaviest song on the album.
yeah, I was just thinking the same thing myself. It seems to hit the hardest out of all of them. I like my favorite parts of this one were so like that kind of hip hop rap part that happens at 114, or 111 maybe. I like the delivery of it all, and it's kind of you're waiting for that drum beat to come in. So then like 124 when the bass and the drum comes back in, that part just feels really good to me. I love sections like that. And I also like the bridge. I put bridge/breakdown. So to 229. Not only because it's a great breakdown, but there's like those like background noises that are happening make it seem very epic sounding.
Ooh. Yeah, I didn't really notice that before. Yeah, that's good. It's a really full breakdown, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good description.
Because usually like breakdowns are about the empty space, but this is kind of more so about the non-empty space.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that assessment.
Yeah. Anything else about Daggers?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
And then for me, the next one was Double Speak. I think it was also just because it's one of the heavier songs. I do think that whole like the intro of the whatever's going on there, I think that dragged on just a little bit too long for my taste.
Yeah, I think I skipped this one a lot because of that.
But at 3 minutes, something about singing in the background.
It's like a layered vocal in the like kind of buried in the background.
Yeah, I think it was like the female like vocals in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to pick out.
Yeah, you have to like turn up the volume on your headset in order to catch it. But yeah, I like that, like the female, like over or under Dave screaming. I thought that was cool. Other than that, that's, I like peeked at the lyrics for these, and I just, nothing really like caught my attention or anything like that. With
not as much of a story.
No,
on this one. My other favorite was Golden.
Sorry.
Uh-oh. Is that a body reaction?
That was I remember when they released this as a single, and I listened to it and I said, what is this?
I understand.
Okay.
I do understand.
Okay.
I can put myself in your shoes. Yeah. I really can.
Okay, sorry, but what do you like about this song?
No, it's okay. I think like I've said in the past, where the way that they land on notes, like a melody, right? Give or take the singing, but if you go to 55 seconds to like 1 minute, like those couple seconds of how he lands on that melody, the note, that's kind of the part that stuck out the most to me.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the whole song, but those moments are like my favorite types of moments for songs like these.
Yeah. I remember this when this was released as a single, and I don't get it. I just remember audibly thinking like, this is not good. and that was like all I had in my head. I was like, ugh, but oh well. So,
and I was kind of afraid. I mean, they basically released half the album as singles, which was weird.
Dark Blue,
didn't they? Like
Black Hole,
was it the
Daggers,
first 5?
and Golden? They didn't do Plague, did they? I don't think Plague was a single.
Let me double check real quick.
Oh, Plague was a single. Yeah. So the first, the first half of the album.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to ruin it before. I don't want to like over listen to it before before it comes out.
They were just like, we have all these singles. Let's just write 5 more, and then we'll make an album.
What the fuck? That's probably what it was. Yeah. Oh well.
I don't know.
But yeah. This isn't really what I think of when I think of We Came as Romans, honestly. But I will be listening to Daggers a lot because I do like that one. That one, like, genuinely want to listen to that one a lot. So
yeah.
All right. Should we move on to the score?
Yeah. I really don't have anything else to say about this album.
I'm giving it. Got to give it a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to recommend it to anybody?
Not really. Daggers, yes. Golden, probably. But album, To Plant a Seed, and the second one.
Yeah. For me, like, it's not bad. Nothing is poorly written. So I feel like, anything under like a 6.6, like a 6 or a 6.5 for me, somewhere in there, just because it's not bad. It's just, honestly, it's just, oh, do I dare say it? It's just kind of basic. It's just kind of just, and it's, I honestly think it's just because I'm done. I might be done with like the post-hardcore era, and I just need
that's fair.
something
That's fair.
else.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Because here's what's difficult about it is I put it on the car and I listen to it. And in my head, I'm thinking, this doesn't sound bad. But why isn't it causing any form of emotional, like, connection? Why am I not connecting to the music at all? Why is this like, it sounds good. The music is good. Why am I not having like an emotional response? Like, why is this just kind of like, I feel nothing towards this? And I'm not trying to be mean, like, but it just, there was no like, I did not like get an emotional response from any of the songs.
Yeah, I wonder if their transition, like, for example, so like their first 2 albums, they had a lot of creative control, right?
Yeah.
Once that third one hit, it even back when it came out,
the self-titled or Tracy McGrath Roots.
tracing back roots.
Okay.
Because Hope, if you look at Hope, 27 million compared to like single millions for the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
Hope, I think, came out as their single.
I think I remember liking Hope.
And I think that was
Yes.
I think they had gotten into like a bigger label. Well, Equal Vision, okay. But it just felt like someone else was trying to pull the strings or something behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because this was like a first like big shift in their sound. It was still them, but when songs like Hope came out, I wonder if there was some kind of like loss of
creative freedom.
Creative freedom or something, and then maybe that just stuck with them, or it didn't feel like they were, to me, just back in the day, it didn't feel like they were what was I gonna say?
That's why Hope is off of understanding what we've grown to be. Or like the deluxe version. That's weird. Understand?
Yeah, I wouldn't pay attention to the deluxe version. I don't know what's going on there. Though if you go right under it, that's like the actual track. Yeah. Actual tracks. But yeah, it just felt like there was some kind of maybe influence that was going on, and maybe they just lost, I don't know, that ability to like go back to what their original sound was or something.
Yeah.
And because of how many years of doing it this way, kind of doing that radio sound. Yeah, I don't know, but it's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
What was my point of saying all that? I can't remember. I think it went on a tangent.
I think the bigger label, they lost their sound. I think is what you're trying to say, that losing creative freedom.
Yeah, it felt like the first 2 albums they had a lot more, and then when they had that, they got that new label, Equal Vision, which I do, I like bands on that, but it just felt like someone was like, okay,
well, their first album,
get what you guys are doing, but here's what metal's supposed to sound like, and they're like, no.
Their first album was Equal Vision.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I must be, I don't know.
Yeah, The We Came as Romans, self-titled, was Equal Vision.
Okay.
They just switched to Sharp Tone in 2017. Okay. I don't know. I think they just kind of listened to, they were just kind of changing up their sound.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they can do what they want. Do you.
Yep. But
I do like that. I do like the artwork more on this one than Lorna Shore.
Yeah.
Metallic flower looking.
Yeah.
And one thing I was going to mention about Lorna Shore is that I read something that they are almost up to 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, which is like, for that genre.
Yeah.
Is very, very, very high. So good for them.
Yeah. Yep, the 944,000.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. I think that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.